This video has been made keeping in mind the requirements of the English A Langen Lit individual oral. Here I have tried to recreate and present an individual oral in order to help my students gain a better understanding on how they should go about it. So here I go. Good morning. In the English A Langen Lit individual oral today, I will look at two influential American artists and their unique perspectives on a global issue that transcends time and space. I will delve into the works of the renowned American painter Norman Rockwell and the celebrated African American poet Langston Hughes. Both artists, in their own distinctive ways, shed light on the pertinent global issue of racial injustice, prevalent all over the world at large and in the United States in particular. This continues to resonate with us even today. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. How right was Langston Hughes when he said this, talking about the need for freedom from racial discrimination. Norman Rockwell's body of work is often associated with capturing the essence of American life, values, and experiences. Rockwell was a master of capturing everyday life with incredible attention to details. His subjects, whether they were individuals, families, or communities, were portrayed with a level of realism that made viewers feel as though they were right there in the scene. His ability to depict human emotions, facial expressions, and the minute details of everyday settings is the hallmark of his distinct style. Rockwell's paintings are often narrative in nature. Each artwork tells a story or conveys a message. This narrative quality made his works highly accessible and relatable to a wide audience. Viewers could easily connect with the stories he depicted, whether they were humorous, heartwarming, or thought-provoking. While his paintings are realistic, Rockwell was not averse to using symbolism to convey deeper messages. For instance, in the painting The Problem We All Live With, which I will be analyzing for this oral, the shattered tomato serves as a powerful symbol of the violence African American students faced while trying to desegregate schools. Rockwell's The Problem We All Live With and Freedom of Speech are two paintings that provide a glimpse into the civil rights movement and freedom of expression during the mid-20th century. The Problem We All Live With depicts a young African American girl being escorted to school by U.S. Marshals, symbolizing the struggle for racial discrimination in American schools. This painting underscores the global issue of racial discrimination and segregation. Norman Rockwell's The Problem We All Live With is a powerful and iconic painting that uses several stylistic techniques to convey its message about the global issue of racial injustice. Rockwell's composition is highly effective in focusing the viewer's attention on the central figure, a young African American girl in a beautiful white dress. She is placed at the center of the canvas and is the largest element in the painting. This composition emphasizes her importance and the gravity of the situation. The framing of the scene, with the U.S. Marshals walking alongside her, directs the viewer's gaze and reinforces the narrative. The contrast between the young girl's innocent vulnerability and the stern, imposing figure of the U.S. Marshals is stark. The little girl symbolizes the hope for a better future and the innocence of children, while the U.S. Marshals symbolize authority and the struggle for justice. The shattered tomato on the wall serves as a powerful symbol of the violence and resistance faced by African American students trying to desegregate schools. This symbolism highlights the consequences of racial discrimination. Rockwell's limited color palette of red, white, and blue, alongside with muted grays, creates a strong visual impact. The patriotic colors emphasize that the issue of racial injustice is not just a social problem, but a challenge to the fundamental values of the United States. The use of grayscale for the figure adds to the realism and seriousness of the scene. Rockwell's attention to detail is evident in various elements, from the worn sneakers on the girl's feet to the scrawled racial slur on the wall. These details humanize the characters and make the issue more relatable, emphasizing that racial injustice affects real individuals and communities. The perspective in the painting is at eye level, making the viewer feel like they are right there walking alongside the young girl. This creates a sense of immediacy and empathy. The choice of a large scale canvas ensures that the emotional impact is not lost on the viewer. Rockwell's use of irony is subtle but powerful. The imagery of the little girl walking towards a school with the word nigger on the wall is a poignant commentary on the contradictions between American ideals and the harsh realities of racial segregation. The body language of the characters in the painting is vital. The US Marshal's solemn and determined expressions contrast with the girl's stoic, resolute stance. Their body language tells a story of the struggle for racial integration. In The Problem We All Live With, Norman Rockwell masterfully uses composition, symbolism, color, attention to detail, perspective, and irony in order to bring together a visually arresting and emotionally charged depiction of the global issue of racial injustice. The painting serves as a timeless reminder that the need for justice, equality, and empathy in society is of paramount importance. Langston Hughes, on the other hand, was equally prolific and a prominent African American poet who was a central figure for the Harlem Renaissance, a cultural and artistic movement in the 1920s and the 1930s that celebrated African American culture. His poetry often explored the experiences of African Americans and the pressing issues of racial injustice and segregation in the United States. Langston Hughes' poetry is marked by its unique and influential style, often referred to as jazz poetry and blues poetry. His style combines elements of African American folk traditions, the rhythms of jazz and blues music, and a deep sense of social and political consciousness. Hughes' poems frequently feature vivid imagery, dialect, and vernacular, allowing readers to connect with the experiences of African Americans in a more immediate and personal way. His work often conveys the complexities of the African American experience, addressing themes such as racial injustice, identity, and the quest for equality. Hughes' poetic style is both accessible and profound, making his work both timeless and deeply resonant even in present times. I Too is a poignant and concise poem by Langston Hughes that addresses the themes of racial injustice and segregation. The poem is written in the first person, with the speaker referring to themselves as I. This perspective is significant as it gives voice to the personal experiences and emotions of African Americans who have been marginalized and segregated. By using the first person perspective, Hughes invites the readers to connect with the speaker's experience and the broader theme of racial injustice. The poem's themes of exclusion, hope, and resilience have universal appeal and resonate with a wide audience. The I represents a collective African American experience, making the poem relatable to a broad audience. Hughes uses repetition in the poem to emphasize the theme of unity and the aspiration for inclusion. The recurring phrase I too serves to underline the speaker's claim to be placed at the table of American society. I too sing America, I am the darker brother. The opening lines of the poem introduce the theme of racial injustice by highlighting the speaker's sense of exclusion and marginalization. The term darker brother implies that the speaker, as an African American, is treated as less than equal within the American society. The repetition drives home the message that African Americans are an integral part of the nation. The poem utilizes metaphor to convey the idea of exclusion and eventual inclusion. The metaphor of the kitchen represents segregation and marginalization. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. These lines reveal when company comes, implying that the segregation and discrimination faced by the speaker by being sent to eat in the kitchen is a symbol of exclusion, emphasizing the racial injustice that limits the speaker's participation in the broader American experience. There is a subtle irony in the speaker's statement that tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. This irony underscores the speaker's optimism and determination to overcome racial injustice by mentioning that I hear America singing. Hughes contrasts the joyful, unified singing of the nation with the exclusion of the speaker to highlight that injustice. Hughes' use of straightforward language and a concise structure adds to the emotional impact of the poem. The brevity of the verses underscores the simplicity of the speaker's demand for recognition, reflecting the basic human desire for equality. The poem also implies subtle irony to make a powerful statement. The idea that the speaker will eat well when the rest of the nation is away implies a future where African Americans are not just included but also thriving. It conveys the hope for a more equitable and just future. While the poem addresses the specific issues of racial segregation, its themes are universal. The desire for equality, the fight against discrimination, and the hope for a better future resonates with people of all backgrounds, making the poem a powerful vehicle for social change. I Too by Langston Hughes encapsulates the struggle against racial injustice and segregation through its use of first person narrative, repetition, metaphor, simplicity, irony, and universal themes. It serves as a poignant reminder of the ongoing fight for equality and inclusion, not just in America but all over the world. End of the presentation, start of the discussion. Now, these are the questions that the teacher will be asking. How did Norman Rockwell's artwork, particularly The Problem We All Live With, contribute to raising awareness about the global issue of racial injustice during the civil rights movement? Norman Rockwell's artwork, especially The Problem We All Live With, played a significant role in raising awareness about racial injustice during the civil rights movement. This painting depicted a young African American girl facing adversity while being escorted to school by the US Marshals, symbolizing the struggle for racial integration in American schools. It resonated with a wide audience and brought the issue of racial discrimination to the forefront. Rockwell's realistic and emotionally charged depiction of this global issue sparked empathy and encouraged conversations about civil rights and the fight for equality all over the world. Are there any other stylistic techniques that Norman Rockwell used in his paintings other than The Problem We All Live With in order to convey the theme of the global issue of freedom of expression? In Freedom of Speech, Norman Rockwell employed various stylistic techniques to convey the theme of freedom of expression. He used a realistic and a highly detailed style, with the central figure, a man standing to speak at a town hall meeting, emphasizing the importance of free speech. The use of a limited color palette and the inclusion of ordinary relatable characters highlighted the universal nature of the theme. The composition with the man's raised hand and the attentive crowd captured the essence of open dialogue and the exchange of ideas, further underlining the global issue of freedom of expression. How did Langston Hughes, through his poetry, contribute to shedding light on the global issue of racial discrimination and its impact on marginalized communities, not only in the United States but worldwide? Langston Hughes made a poignant, significant contribution to raising awareness about the global issue of racial discrimination through his poetry by providing a voice to the marginalized and the oppressed. His poems vividly depicted the struggles, dreams, and aspirations of the African Americans and, by extension, other disenfranchised groups around the world. Hughes's poetry resonated with the broader international audience, helping people from diverse backgrounds empathize with the impact of racial discrimination. Through his writings, he exposed the injustices faced by African Americans, shedding light on the broader issue of racial discrimination and inspiring social change not only in the United States but in many parts of the world. What specific stylistic techniques and recurring themes in Langston Hughes' poetry make it an effective medium for addressing the persistent global issue of racial discrimination and advocating for social change and racial equality? Langston Hughes's poetry is renowned for its effectiveness in addressing the global issue of racial discrimination through various stylistic techniques and recurring themes. He often used vivid imagery and metaphors to bring to light the experiences of African Americans, making them universally relatable. His incorporation of African American dialect and vernacular added authenticity to his portrayal of the human condition. While using repetition, he emphasized the urgency of addressing racial discrimination. Themes of resilience, identity, and the pursuit of equality in his poetry made the global issue of racial discrimination accessible and emotionally charged. Now, this in turn inspired social change and advocated the need for a more equitable world. Thank you. End of discussion. That was long. So, what the students need to keep in mind is their points should be very clear. They have to take in the examination room an outline form with around 10 points and an unannotated copy of the extracts. So, you're allowed to look at the extracts while you're speaking, and they should be unannotated. I will repeat that. And be conversational, try and communicate the key ideas that the artist or the writer tries to bring forth through the works, and be confident. All the best.